let's do a quick lesson on high PSA and prostate issues in men. This is very common. We can really see two patterns that come up on the Dutch test. So this is my favorite test that looks at hormones and adrenals. It shows breakdown, metabolism. I'm actually going to show you the test today, and what we're kind of looking for. Now, if a guy comes to me, he has high PSA or is having prostate issues, normally he already knows about it. It's painful, it's very uncomfortable, and likely they've already seen their doctor about it and have some type of diagnosis. Now, I immediately will start some prostate support. So I really like the product Bell Prostate Tea. Now, it doesn't mean you just take this and boom, you're better and go about your life and forget about the rest of your body. You're having problems with your hormones because there's other dysfunction. So whenever the body's under chronic stress, reproduction takes a back seat. Whenever the detox pathways are stressed, your hormone metabolism goes out the window. And that's where we start to see these issues. The really great thing is, for the majority of cases, it's easy to fix the prostate issue. It's longer to fix the causes and the other stresses on the body. So I always start with the foundation labs: organic acids, full blood work, genetics. We also, like everything, and sometimes I don't always touch upon it on every single video, but we need to look at nutrition, we need to look at lifestyle, we need to look at stress. So nutrition, for sure, we want to move to a balanced whole food diet. We want to cut all the processed foods, because that is going to be driving this pattern. When they eat a lot of sugar, it's going to drive their estrogen up, their testosterone can go down. It's going to put a lot of stress on their detox pathways to be eating the high levels of toxins that are in processed food. So whenever we're healing, we need to think about the body bank account. We need to reduce stress, and we need to reduce our toxic load. And that really starts with our food. It is something that we can control to some degree. We can start buying our food from farms. We can start looking at organic produce, buying locally, finding people who are growing food and raising their own animals. So that's very vital. You have to make those lifestyle changes. You've got to reduce the stress. Now, in the foundation labs, we are going to see neurotransmitter balance. I always have people really focus on mindset. Well, I encourage it. I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make them drink. So I encourage people to dive into my mindset course. So when you're working with a practitioner, if they don't have something that focuses on mindset and working with your thoughts, then you need to seek that out as something extra, because in order to heal, we need to shift from fight or flight. And yes, we want to balance our brain, but we also have to work on our thought patterns. So men oftentimes will be working very hard and really stuck in the rat race and not expressing their emotions as well as what women do. And they're also, most of them have been programmed to really come across strong. A lot of times that can transition to anger versus being able to work through emotion. So this is a big part of healing. We need to address the stress. We need to address nutrition. Then we get these foundation labs. We need to address the brain, because we need to reduce the stress. In order for your body to repair its hormones, to repair the detox pathways, we need to move out of fight or flight. And that doesn't always look like fear. That can look like the rat race. If you're go, 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 constantly working, and you're always on a high, focusing on the next task, finishing that job, then that is also equally as stressful to the body as being in a state of chronic fear. So this is a big part of the picture. We also need to see in these foundation labs mitochondrial function, because in order for the body to start to repair the hormones, detox pathways, it needs the energy to do so. And especially if you're stuck in a rat race, you're going to be burning a lot of your energy. There's not going to be a lot of energy for healing. So it all fits together, and we have to see the body as a whole. Now, the other thing that is the biggest presenting factor with any hormone issue is going to be the detox pathways, because your body cannot properly detoxify your hormones when it's not able to. If it can't detoxify, it can't detoxify. When the pathways are burdened, they're burdened, and we just have to work on repairing them. Now, we're going to see all three phases of detoxification. You can find an outline of that in the appendix of my book, Heal Yourself, and get to know all three phases of detox. It's not as simple as taking, milk thistle and charcoal. You need to do a lot more work on these three phases. So we do that in the foundation. Oftentimes I will run a Dutch right away in this case, because I want to check estrogen levels. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you the patterns that we see. So this is a Dutch test of a man who had prostate issues. Now, oftentimes what will happen is their free testosterone is actually not elevated. And then they're like, what the heck is going on? It's not that. And it still is. We'll see on the next page. But when we're looking at this first page, we want to check out the estrogen levels, because oftentimes what happens with prostate issues is estradiol becomes elevated. Now, it's not in this case, but sometimes it is. And if it is, then we're going to be adding in something like DIM. And we'll check the detoxification pathways in the bottom also, and we'll talk about that there. But the testosterone here is not elevated. The free levels aren't elevated. This is very common when the body's been under a lot of fight or flight. It's going to be breaking it down. So we do see DHEA production is high end, which in itself is okay, as long as we're seeing safe metabolism. So when we scroll down to page 3, this is where we're seeing the unsafe metabolism. So androsterone is a alpha. You can see here 5 beta, 5 alpha. So it is an alpha pathway, and this alpha pathway is toxic. Both of these levels are elevated, and you can see compared to what the testosterone is. So if you were just going off of testosterone, you wouldn't be getting the big picture. But when this androsterone here is elevated, that is going to break down into the 5 alpha DHT. And even though that's not hugely elevated, this is 4 times more potent than this beta side. And that is where we start to run into problems. We'll also see people where this pathway here, whereas the alpha pathway is primed, that they're going to have hair loss. So they'll start to see the male pattern balding. Now, what we want to do here, definitely get those prostate supportive herbs in. We want to heavily focus on ending the chronic stress response. We want to focus on the detox pathways. We want to focus on the mitochondria. We want to focus on giving the body tools to heal, and we want to get those herbal support on board. Now, if we saw that the estrogen metabolism was off or estrogen levels were high, then we would also want to get in something like DIM. So ideally here we see about an 80-10-10 ratio of green to red to blue. Red is the toxic, green is good, blue is neutral. If we see really high levels of the blue, then we add in something like calcium D-glucarate. If we see really high levels of the red, we add in DIM. Or if we see, even if this is really good, if the estrogen levels are significantly elevated, which here, when we're looking at this, this is higher than I would want to see for a man. So 10 to 12 o'clock is optimal range. For men, we want to see estrogen lower. It really should not be elevated. It's not like a woman where we do want to see it in that optimal range. We want to see their estrogen on the lower end of range. So here, I definitely would be adding in some DIM support. It doesn't have to be a high dose because it's not hugely elevated, but I would want to get that in about 3 times a week. So as always, I'm not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing or treating disease. I am trying to educate you on your health, empower you to make the right decisions, help you get the right labs with your practitioner. If your practitioner is not running labs, find one that will run the labs for you and not just guess based on symptoms. You want to get your labs so that you can customize the supplements to your body. You need to see your detox pathways. You need to see your unique brain chemistry, and you can then customize the supplements versus just guessing and throwing things at the wall and hoping it's going to stick. So those are the patterns that we're going to see. We're either going to see this, testosterone elevated and or elevated metabolites on the 3rd page. Or we'll see something like this where the free testosterone is low, the metabolites are elevated, and then we see the higher end estrogen. So we just want to give the body the tools to start to repair this. And then where we get to the nitty-gritty of it, men need to have orgasms pretty well, ideally when you're suffering from prostatitis, as often as you can, every day if possible. And a lot of times what happens is as estrogen rises and testosterone is affected, so sometimes we will see that testosterone go down, the estrogen goes up, the detox pathways are terrible, and where the prostate is becoming inflamed, a man does not feel like having orgasms. That desire goes down, their frequency starts to decrease. And if you don't relieve the pressure on the prostate, you will get prostatitis. So we want to increase the frequency. If it's not weekly, then it needs to be weekly to twice a week to 3 times a week, to increasing that frequency to every day. When we do see the PSA significantly elevated, it's always good to rule out prostate cancer. If you are going down, putting this in a way that is not too controversial. So if you're going down different rabbit holes, there are a lot of different options that you can do for prostate cancer if it does end up being that. And it really is a personal choice. Like for me, I would not do certain things. I would not be biopsying. I would not be doing a lot of things invasive for my body, but everybody has to make their own choice if that is where the diagnosis goes. There's a lot of research showing that prostate cancer moves incredibly slowly, and people actually pass from the treatment, not from the cancer itself. Now, again, this is a whole rabbit hole that I encourage you to go down. I'm not going to go any further into this video. Besides that, there are many natural options if you are interested in those, but I wanted to just touch upon that really quickly, but keep the main focus on how to address these issues. And it's by not getting stuck on one thing. Don't get stuck just on your prostate. Yes, get the support on board and work on that, but it is recognizing that this is a whole body issue. It is a lifestyle issue. We need to see it that way and work on it that way. So I hope that helps you. If you do have any questions, please leave me a comment, hit like and subscribe, and I'll get you some more videos.